Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Sally Page here, joining us again live for today, talking about her heart, womb, soul healing. And of course, all she can offer, heartwombsoul.com is the website. We're excited to have her here from beautiful California. And again, for spiritual women who embrace alternative ways of body healing, she is here. We're going to talk about her new podcast. We're going to talk about, of course, all the work she does that can help you directly. How are you today? Hey, Sally?
Hello. I've got an extra sound going here.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm so delighted to be here, Jill. It's always such a fun experience to speak with you, and I'm just delighted to be on your show today.
Perfect. Well, excited to have you here as well. For those new listeners, new timers here, please introduce yourself. Thank you.
I have a meditation going in the background. I hope that you can't hear it.
No,
and
I don't hear anything. I hear you.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I'm just going to ignore it and everything will work perfectly here. So I'm very excited to be here today because today is the launch of my podcast, and it's called Ignite Your Sacred Light. It's to help people really find the truth of their heart and soul and live that with purpose and passion, because that's where our inner magic exists. And so many people have illness because they suppress that inner truth. And it's such an important part of healing and allowing us to really thrive in life. It makes all the difference in the world when you live your inner truth. It's very freeing, it's very healing, and it brings you into perfect alignment with your heart and soul.
Beautiful. And it's exciting to have you here. You shared a little bit about your journey and experience last time we spoke, but there are new listeners today. Could you just tell us in a nutshell how you got here and, what happened to you? And then we'll get started with specific for today's show.
Well, this is actually one of my first episodes in the podcast, from NASA engineer to medical intuitive.
Yes.
I have a degree in engineering and physics. I worked at several tech companies, and my last tech job was at NASA on the SETI project. I was their systems engineer.
Wow.
I ran the lab. I wrote software to control their equipment. And it was really fun to be at NASA. But part of me just wanted to be around people. And being in a lab all the time wasn't satisfying that need in me. But I actually got chronic fatigue there, what they thought was chronic fatigue. I had to go on a medical leave. And what they found out is it wasn't chronic fatigue, it was actually metal poisoning. And it was a long process to find that all out. And in that process, I almost died. And that was only the first near-death experience.
Wow. And I still don't have your notes sent to me. They're in the process of doing that. So let me start off by asking you what's next on the agenda until I get them. My apologies.
Oh, no worries. No worries. I'll just, this is just a little bit of my background. So I became a medical intuitive after I had this experience where I had to leave NASA and I was so sick and the doctors thought it was chronic fatigue and they didn't recognize it was metal poisoning. I got worse and worse until I had to go on a medical leave. The thing that happened after that is I really declined. But as I started to recover from the metal poisoning, I finally found a doctor who knew it was a poison, who knew I was poisoned, to help me find out what it was, then put me on chelation and started clearing it out of my body. And it was actually from a metal retainer cemented in the back of my teeth. And they took that out and I started getting better, but my energy didn't come back. So in the process of studying and learning how to recover, I learned a lot about medicine, and I learned a lot about homeopathy and a lot about naturopathy and all these alternative things. And then when my son was 7, I actually signed up to go to Hahnemann and Palmer Chiropractic to get a homeopathic and chiropractic degree at the same time. But I got pregnant and I stopped doing that because the And when you're doing cadaver work, it's not good for the babies. So I stopped because I was pregnant. But when my son was 17 months old, I had bacterial meningitis, was in a coma for 6 days, full life support. My hands and feet turned black. I had 3 doses of the super medicine. Everyone thought I would die. The doctors told my husband I would not live through the night. And my sister sat by my bedside to pray. And I was literally curled up from the damage that I had been from. I was in a fetal position, ready to die. And through the night, through those prayers and many other prayers, I started to get my color back because I was gray with black hands and black feet.
Oh, wow.
And by the morning, I had turned around. And here I am. So that process took me a lot of recovery. And if you want to know more, go listen to my podcast, sallypodcast.com. But the thing is, I had to learn to get past what I thought healing was, what I thought I was, and become a new version of me, one that was really connected with that deep heart and soul. I had to learn to walk again, shower again. And for the first year, I would turn gray if I was up out of bed for very long. And I found a friend who did body talk. He was amazing. And with 3 sessions with him, I had more change than I'd had in the entire year before. I was having trouble balancing. It was hard for me to care for my son, who was still a little toddler at the time. And it turned me around so fast, I just dove into it. And as I became certified in body talk, and then I dove in and studied more and more, I learned emotional freedom technique. I learned evasive quantum healing. I learned quantum touch. I learned all these things. I've been learning. And then heart math. Heart math was profound for me because I used to listen to people say, you know, if you want to know something that really is important to you, just tune into your heart. And I'm like, what? How do you tune into your heart? And this is interesting because in my engineering job, it was all about tuning in to the right frequencies. Well, that's what we're doing with our heart. We're tuning in when we know how to listen, to be in stillness, to breathe and to feel our breathing. We literally tune in when we're focusing on the heart and feel that breathing go in and out as our lungs expand, as our rib cage expands, that even in and out. And if something stops where it's not comfortable, where we contract in that in and out, it's our heart saying, no, that's not a good focus. But your heart tells you, when you know how to listen, what your inner truth is. And when you listen to that and align your life with that, you have profound changes in your life and profound healing.
Wow. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. Just to let you know, the station did not receive your notes in that email. So I'm going to have to, unfortunately, ask you to just prompt what you wanted to talk about for the day. But thank you.
Oh, no worries. If you have a question, just go for it.
All right, great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have been doing this healing work for 20 years now. And I've decided to start the podcast because I found people have similar things where they get stuck in healing. People that have had trauma or abuse in their life, people that have had just situations where they suppress that inner truth or where they haven't developed a self-love for themselves. All of these things are things that really require healing. And I've also learned sound healing. And that, I think, really appealed to the person in me, that engineer part of me and that science that love the frequencies. So there is the science of Dr. Emoto, who studied what words did to water, how it changed the pattern in water, where if you looked at a molecule of polluted water, it would look all globby and ugly. But then when you spoke words like love, peace, harmony, it would turn into a beautiful crystalline pattern. Our bodies are about 60 to 65% water on the average. And if we apply a loving, harmonizing frequency, it changes the pattern in every cell of our body. If we're listening to live sound or if we're on speakers, that's why music touches our heart, touches our emotions, brings up powerful memories. Sound is powerful for us, but we haven't really fully tapped into the healing possibilities of it.
Yeah.
And when you bring in conscious intention with targeted sound, it becomes very, very powerful. And what does that look like in our body? Well, for the body, first of all, there's a cell. And this is the science of somatics. If your cell is resonating with a disease pattern, it's not in a beautiful pattern of what we would call sacred geometry or a mandala type of pattern. It's in disharmony where it's not flowing and the energy isn't good. When you apply the proper frequencies, you can even take a cell that has cancer, and there's various types of cancer, and apply the right frequency. It will change the frequency of that cell and turn it from the pattern of disease to a pattern of harmony with the body. And this is where profound healing happens. People can shift their disease. They can shift out of huge emotional releases. They can shift out of trauma. People who've had vaccination reactions where their arm just is very irritated from the vaccine, that can clear through the sound and through the light. The other part that I blend with this is something called light language. It is the higher self of the soul that speaks through me when I do this. It's like that infinite, eternal part of yourself that is in a higher space that doesn't die. And when you connect with that space and speak the language of those frequencies, it ignites codes of healing, awakening. It puts you into a resonance where you connect with your inner truth, your soul purpose, your soul gifts, and your highest path. So those codes are incredibly powerful, and they sound weird, but they're powerful. So when I blend alchemical singing bowls that have the frequencies of stones and crystals and precious metals, and they bring those frequencies in to the vibration, then you get powerful results. So if you've ever heard of anyone doing crystal healing, you can literally set up a field with crystals that feed energy centers and shift vibrations. When you put that into sound, those healing qualities go into the sound vibration as subatomic components of sound that make a huge difference when they impact the body. So I've created some free gifts for my podcast launch that are about alchemical sound and light.
Yay!
And they're free. So if you go to Sally, SALLYS, gift, GIFT.com, sallysgift.com, you can get into the loop for my podcast and you will get a free gift with just your name and email. And it has a video, and you'll also get a just an MP3 so you can download it and listen anytime. But the way this works is the more you listen, the deeper it goes. And it's very interesting. The people who work with me find that as they listen repeatedly, it gets deeper and magical things happen. And magical, it's not like weird magic, but deep, profound shifts. They can have a really significant release of emotions that have been trapped in their body, energy that's been trapped from trauma. They can have, but it's usually very gentle. They can have a rise of their Kundalini energy, which is the energy of awakening. It's the energy that sits in the base of the spine. And as it rises, it just goes up through the chakra systems, clearing and opening a flow of light. It's really, really cool.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. And just remind everyone, Sally, how we can reach you for this free gift and to reach out to you directly.
sallysgift.com, SALLYSGIFT.com. You can sign up for my free gift there. You'll get in a loop for the podcast, which is live today. And if you sign up for if you listen to the podcast in the first 24 hours and like me on social, you'll get a second free gift. And the second one is about igniting your sovereign freedom. And that's where you come into a really powerful relationship with that inner truth of your heart and soul. to the point where you start to leave behind fear and limitations and embrace the power of that inner guidance system that your heart and soul provide. And the more you empower that and connect with it, the more your life accesses your greatest possibilities, and you start to experience amazing synchronicities in your life.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Thank you so much for this. All right. Sally Page here, guys. If you are just tuning in, once again, reminding you she can help you. She also offers a free live masterclass. I just want to point that out, right? When does that take place?
It's actually the masterclass that's Heart Womb Soul. That's not live right now, but
oh, okay.
The Sally at Sally's SALLYS gift.com is live, and it will take you to everything I do. And the masterclass will be launched in a few weeks. So if you sign up for Sally's gift, you will get offers for the masterclass, and that's for my Heart Womb Soul package, which is profound healing for women. And it changes their relationship with their body, heart, and soul.
Love to hear it. Again, you're healing that resonates in every cell of your body, you say. Discover that clear inner guidance,
yes.
From the stress and overwhelm to clear, like clarity, right? It'd be good to see
like clarity,
clear.
like inner truth clarity. Yes.
Yeah. And awaken your soul gifts, you say. Activate your highest life paths and align your truth of your heart and your soul. My goodness. Amazing, amazing. All right. Can't wait to experience this. Excited to have you here. What else do you want to share?
I just want to share that if someone's had an experience in Western medicine where they've been told to just live with it, I will offer another solution. Just find a new solution. Yeah. I've been told that twice when I could have died from the results of just live with it. Don't just live with it. Western medicine has great things, but there are also great things that Western medicine isn't aware of. Go explore, find someone like me. I'd be happy to help you. And if you go to the Sally's free gift, you will find out many, many extraordinary healing stories about not just me, but friends of mine, people I know, people I work with, experts in their field who can talk about alternative ways of healing. Yeah. We're only touching the surface of what's available. So don't give up on yourself. Keep trying.
And could you share some of the clarity you brought through others with some examples?
Well, I can tell you that people who have gone through, for example, growing up with an abusive parent, and I've seen this in more than one client, so I'll just speak about it generally because I don't give personal information out unless they've agreed to that. People who grow up with physical, emotional abuse from a parent usually are very contracted, and they feel afraid in life, limited. They don't feel safe. They don't feel safe in their skin. They may not be comfortable in close friendships or intimate relationships because they're always waiting for some trauma event. What happens is they start to listen to these sounds on a consistent basis is that fear starts to resolve, and the feeling comfortable in their body starts to increase. Yeah. They start to develop a sense of inner trust that they're okay. Yeah. That they can trust people, that they can feel good in life, that they can trust the people in their loving relationships. True. And they're safe. And for someone who's been through a lot of trauma, that's a big deal. Other examples? Okay, let's talk about some other examples.
Well, whatever you have on your agenda, I know there's more you want to discuss today. So whatever you want to share for today is fine.
So I can tell you that people who have autoimmune diseases, people who have trouble getting pregnant, people who have trouble being comfortable in their body can also have issues with self-love. And this can be caused by a very controlled childhood. It doesn't have to be, it can be abusive, but it could be also a very controlled childhood, a very controlling relationship, or a very suppressed environment that they either live in through a partner or they've grown up with. And when you're really controlled, suppressed, not allowed to be you, not allowed to even know who you are, not allowed to honor your feelings and that inner awareness of who you are, that's suppressive, and that can make you sick. And it's when we suppress that inner truth, that inner light of who we are, that we develop a foundation for disease. Or when we hold unprocessed emotions in our body, like anger, resentment. When you hear like people like, I'm never going to forgive this person. I'm so angry at this person. I could just explode, but they don't process it. That gets stored in your body. Those emotions are not unhealthy, but storing them in your body is. When you store an emotion in your body, like cancer is founded in anger. Yep. Anger because you couldn't be yourself, anger because you didn't speak your truth, anger for whatever part of the body it's associated with, where you've stored this anger. So throat cancer, people who haven't spoken their truth. So it just makes such an important difference to listen to that inner self, to process those feelings, to feel your feelings and move through them. And that's where things like the emotional freedom technique comes in, the alchemy of sound and light help. There's so many things that you can do to help yourself heal in a very deep way. Get to the core of what causes the illness, and it changes everything. And also the alchemical light and sound change everything because it's gentle, it's easy, it's profoundly deep. And because you can do it consistently over a period of time, you can continue to heal, grow, and ignite that inner truth. And when you listen, even if you're a bit stressed and agitated when you sit down, or if your day has just been overwhelming, just the first thing that you get, the first sound, alchemy of sound and light you get at sallysgift.com will bring you into a state of inner peace, inner calm. And it will even, if you go really try to meditate or tune into your heart, it will take you deeper than you can go without. It's like assisting you vibrationally to go where it's not always easy to go by yourself. And when you do this, you really start to go deeper, and it gets easier every time you try it. You can find that inner stillness within that is such a profound spiritual experience, such a profound knowing of the self. Mm-hmm. And it's when we know ourself and love ourself and follow that inner guidance that our life changes in really amazing ways. And I wish that for everybody, because we all deserve to be healthy, happy, prosperous, and have joyful, loving relationships in our life. That's what health is.
Oh, it is. And, a lot of us, sometimes, you got to believe in the faith and the power of your body, of your healing. And Sally is a living miracle of her story, her journey. I know we got further into it last episode if you want to watch that. But it's beautiful to know that you can really turn things around with positive thinking and just by connecting, and some people say, well, how is that possible? How can I help heal myself? Call Sally. She knows best.
Call me. sallysgift.com.
Beautiful.
It is such a joy to talk with you, Jill. I love the depth of your awareness too. I have to just say that.
Thank you.
And you really have such a powerful inner awareness of things. I just really appreciate it.
Thank you for thinking so. My kids don't think that. They're 6 and 8, so they're like,
it's not their job to think that yet. When they're like 28, they'll recognize these gifts that you have.
Oh, thank you. Very sweet. We still got 3 minutes left. What else did you want to share?
I would love to share that the podcast is going live today. I share personal stories. There's 3 released today, and there's more coming up. Powerful healing stories from people who have been through extraordinary, challenging experiences that seemed hopeless or overwhelming, or like they would never get their health back. Yet they found ways to overcome, to get through this, and to become a stronger, better, more aligned version of themselves. And these are all people who really listen to that inner truth to get through this, who live the truth of their heart and soul, and who are amazing, amazing people in what they do today because of the extraordinary challenges that they have faced and overcome through that inner wisdom and soul connection. And that's a powerful, powerful thing.
Oh, it really is. And
we all need that inspiration.
Yeah, you really do. And by the way, you talk about the activation is effortless. You raise your vibration and you can really help.
And your consciousness and Kundalini can come up. And if Kundalini comes up, it's coming up from the base of your spine and it's going through all your chakras, clearing it out, but you can experience a shaking or a waving motion. And if that happens to you, just lay down and enjoy the shift, because that's your body igniting at a whole new level. It's really cool. Awesome. And it helps you heal too.
Well, we all want that healing journey, and we want to know how we can reach you. For the information again, Sally's free gift.
Sally's gift, SALLYS gift.com. Go to it, sign up, get the free Alchemy of Light and Sound, get the invitation to join my podcast today. And if you follow the emails, you'll find out how to like me on social, and you'll get a second free gift, which is Ignite Your Sovereign Freedom. We are meant to be free. We are meant to live the truth of our heart and soul, and we are meant to empower our most amazing self. So I hope you'll join me. And thank you so much for this time together, Jill. I so much appreciate you.
I hope you have a fantastic day. I appreciate you and all you have to offer. Thanks again. Congratulations on the podcast and being here and all that you're doing to help us. Have a great day. Thanks so much. Bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.